Welcome, everybody. This is Youngzers, inaugural podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan McDermott. I got double R, Ryan Roberts here as well, and then Andrew McDermott. Three Pittsburghers. Well, we're from around Pittsburgh, but what we're going to talk about is basically Pittsburgh sports. So Pirates, Steelers, Penguins, and then Roberts over here is the expert on Pitt football. We got some Penn State football too, and then we might touch on some NBA and maybe college basketball. So, yeah, that's where we're starting at. Other two guys, you got anything you want to say about each other or chime in a little bit?
No, I'm ready to just get right into it.
Get ready to know about you? First, I was going to say Robert shows up in his official Pittsburgh Pirates Hawaiian t-shirt.
Sure.
Free shirt Saturday. Absolute blast. We got to see the kids climbing on the jungle gym. But it's Monday night. We're recording. The Pirates are, in the seventh inning right now? Seventh or eighth?
Yeah.
2-2 game.
2-2.
Yeah. 2-2, still tied up, yeah. So hopefully they pull that off. Let's just jump into the Pirates then. What do you think about the trades so far? Danny's on the Mets. I'm kind of upset.
Big Daddy Vogelbach heading to the Big Apple. I mean, good trade.
Dog nights.
Yeah, you get you get a reliever who has 6 years of control left, 6'7", touches 99 for Vogelbach, who wasn't even going to be back next year anyway. So the Pirates, I think they have the worst bullpen in the majors. It can't hurt to, get as many arms as you can and figure that out because it's not the answer right now.
It's not good.
I'm just upset losing the memes, The big boy coming around the bags, turning his head, taking a peek.
First game in New York last night, he did that too.
Yeah,
scored from second.
I don't think the pinstripes are helping him too much. His vertical stripes add about 50 pounds.
Not a good look for my boy.
Then they made that other trade too. Who's that? Michael Perez.
Perez for cash. They were lucky to get a buck for him. He was horrible.
Do you think they said the Pirates were reaching for that reliever? Do you think that was just kind of a throw in afterwards? Or do you think they would have done that at the same time?
No, the guy they got from the Mets.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean he's 4-0. He had like a 2.03 ERA this year. Kind of unproven, but like if you're the Pirates, what else are you realistically going to get for half a year of Daniel Vogelbach? You get a guy that you have 6 years of control for, so theoretically when they should be contending next, they have another bullpen arm, and if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. I'd rather them get a guy like that actually has potential and can play than some single A guy that has 5% chance of making the major leagues to begin with.
Yeah, we don't really need a bat that bad right now either, especially when we're 15 games under 500. So
yeah,
that's not. I know Roberts misses the kid though. He's gonna miss him.
Yeah, not to mention recent roster moves, sending Sawinski down.
I'm not too happy about that. But
all about getting that extra year of service time. That's all that's about.
Didn't he hit 2 home runs too, like the other night? Or
yeah. He went
back. But they don't want to pay. Too bad Seven Springs isn't owned by Bob Nutting anymore. He can't pump his money into that.
Yeah, I mean that's what they did with O'Neal Cruz. That's what they're doing with Sawinski. That's what they're doing with Ronzi Contreras. They just want to send them down so they don't get enough time this year. Then they get another year of service time, so they tax on another year that they'll be there. And Bob Nutting treats a nickel like it's a manhole cover, so it ain't. It's not like
they've been waiting to say that one all day.
It's not like he's upset about that.
I mean, do you think he'd even win us any more games if he was even playing?
I mean, it wouldn't make much of a difference if he was here, rather than Greg Allen, who's first game back this week, Brian Reynolds, who's back. But I'd rather see them play the young guys and see what you have with them than these veterans that you're still going to be under 500. You're still not going to be winning games. We know they're not very good. Just play the young guys and see who you have for the future at this point. What else are you going to do?
Yeah. I was looking at the schedule, and honestly, I don't think the Pirates are going to win more than like 25, 30 games the rest of the year. Play the Mets twice. They have the Braves, the Yankees again, the Cardinals a couple times, the Brewers. The Orioles, they're not horrible. I mean, they're pretty much 500. But what's up?
13 of the last 16 they won, so.
Yeah, they play in a tough division, too. They got the Blue Jays, too. Blue Jays. Yeah, it'd be a rough second half for the Pirates, though. But what I did see was they have the same exact record as the Angels right now too, depending on what happens tonight, I guess. So like the Angels, what are they doing? They have two of the best players in Major League Sport, like Major League Baseball. Can't win
I,
as many games as the Pirates.
I have a feeling Otani's getting traded within the next year
Think
year
so?
or two to a bigger market. Otani's going to be gone.
That's another thing. I think even though the Pirates window might be open in a few years, it's gonna have some trouble because Juan Soto's rumored to go to the Cardinals,
Aaron
and then
Judge.
yeah, Judge to the Brewers too.
Yeah. I don't think Judge will go to the Brewers. I think he'll stay in a big market like New York. I could see him going to the White Sox maybe, just staying in a big market like that. But the Cardinals have one of the deepest uh,
Farm systems.
farm systems in the league. So if they're going to trade for Juan Soto, they're probably going to be giving up Matthew Liberatore, maybe even like a Nolan Gorman or Jordan Walker type guy. So they're going to be giving up at least like 4 or 5 probably high tier prospects and maybe even someone who's closer to major league ready, just to get Juan Soto, which if you're the Cardinals and you have 1 year left on Arenado, he has that opt out, I'm pretty sure. Take the
That's
chance
real.
with it because you're in a good position right now.
You think Soto's actually worth that much though to try to bring him in for how many? What didn't he deny like what a 13-year contract, 16 years, something like that?
486 million.
Like how that's literally like Powerball money, and
I
he's just
mean,
like
no one re-signs big contracts in Washington though. Bryce Harper left and went to Philly. These guys, there
Scherzer.
must be something with the organization.
Soto already did he already win the World Series too with them? So he already was he there in 19 when they won or 18, 19, 18?
I'm not sure.
I'm not. Yeah. So I mean, if he already won his World Series there, he's probably thinking I don't know them anything anyway. Something like that. I mean, everyone does leave there, like even Scherzer. He wasn't traded, was he? Or did he just left?
Sure.
Scherzer. Yeah.
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 Well, like it also doesn't help that the trade rumor, that they're even looking to trade him was leaked. So he's not thrilled with the front office now to begin with. And well, I wouldn't say not that they were looking to trade him, but they leaked the details of the contract they offered him and he denied. So he was like wanting to keep that all private. And then they kind of blew it there because if he didn't accept that offer, they leaked it. He just doesn't care about that now. He'll
Yeah.
hope wherever.
That's every team. Watch
Yeah.
Roberts. You watch any of that All-Star game? That was last week, but
Yeah.
any thoughts on that?
Manoa. They need to bring pitcher mics, catcher mics to the
Exactly. That's what I thought too. I loved that. They had the player catcher mics. What was the other thing? The umpire cam. You saw the ball coming right down the middle. That was pretty cool. But
I think they need to go back to the old school home run derby format too. You get 10 outs and then that's it. I hate the timer. I hate the extra time. It should go back to the old way.
half the guys have Old Man River pitching to them too. They're throwing absolute beach balls right down the middle every 15 seconds. So, I mean, half those guys they're throwing like they're getting like all these pitches back to back to back, but they have these other guys that are throwing one pitch every like it seems like 10 15 seconds. So a little disadvantage there, but
Yeah.
and at least the game was all right. We got to see the kid come in, Dave Bednar. So that was nice.
Name that also is on the trade block here for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
That's what I was about to say too. What did you see, Roberts?
I think he's out. Hometown
Really?
kid, but I think he's out by the deadline.
That way, I think he's
Toronto-
still got some good years left in him, and
I'd bet it. I don't know. I think it's like a 50-50 shot because they're going to literally throw his arm off. He's getting so many innings in situations that he shouldn't be needed. And he's not getting, he's already been injured twice this year and missed. He hasn't went on the injured list, but he's had like a stretch of 3 or 4 games where he's unavailable. If you're I didn't want to trade him at the beginning of the year just because he's your all-star. He's the hometown guy. It's like a great story, but if they're going to continue to throw his arm off, and if a team like the Yankees or the Padres or the Dodgers really wants to overpay for him, and I'd say do it at this point.
Yeah, I mean, what is the point of having a closer when you're probably gonna not win even 50 games this year? Maybe I don't know, but I think when he does go to a team like that, they're winning more often. So is he gonna be a closer? Or is he gonna be like an 8 guy? Like,
Well, that's the thing. He'd probably see less innings just because he could be the setup guy or the closer. But a lot of those other teams too, it's not like they're using their closers as often. I won't say closers, but Bednar's just throwing way too many innings, and
yeah,
he wouldn't be doing that on a lot of the other contending teams.
he had a good inning though in the All-Star game.
Yeah, it was a good story for him. Edwin Diaz gave up his spot to get him in the All-Star game, so that was pretty cool.
I didn't think he was going to come in. As a Pirate fan, I would have been angry because you have teams like the Dodgers with like 6, 7 guys, and they're bringing them in left and right. Like, if you're a Pirates fan or a small market fan, I mean, at least the Marlins had their starter on the mound, right? Like, was he on the
Same
mound?
Contreras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But who would the Pirates have had? They like
That was
the
it.
game isn't for anything anymore. It's the last one that was for World Series home game advantage. So like obviously you're just there for the fans at this point. You're gonna have a team not even see any of their players play. I think that's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Sometimes they get one out. That's the thing nowadays.
exactly. Yeah.
Different.
All right, so moving on a little bit. Upcoming games. Pirates got the Cubs, like we said tonight. They're in Wrigley. What, the next 2 days?
Yeah.
Got any action on that, Roberts? He's the betting expert on the pod, so see if he has anything.
Nah.
Nothing.
Maybe,
No Nerfies.
maybe the Nerfy tomorrow.
You're done. No run first inning. That's what I was thinking. We should start doing. We take one game a day, and we take our record, and then end of the season, say we go through MLB. Once football season starts off, we could do like literally every game that week and just take our records. End of the year, we'll have a winner. So that'll be pretty fun. What about the Phillies? They play the Phillies next.
They
4
come
games.
Philly Fanatic coming to town.
Philly Fanatics coming to town. Probably blowing his kazoo left and right, huh?
Yeah.
What do you got there? Anything? You think the Pirates will split, lose 3, take 1, swept?
You lead off with Thompson, and then Quintana. Let's see if Quintana makes it to that series.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. I think he's gone. He's to
Yeah.
be gone by next week.
The more every game they throw him from now on, it's just risking injury. Like, I'd just trade him now, see what you can get, or at least hold him out because teams know what they're getting with him, and he's probably their biggest trade chip at the deadline. There's no point in risking an injury and then, you losing out on that.
It's the first thing I heard of the White Sox. They want a reunion with them, so that's probably the lead dog for them.
I saw Toronto, like the Blue Jays too. They're another one that's up there. A lot of the AL teams, obviously, but
You think the Blue Jays are legit? I don't know if I could see them get in the World Series, but I
don't think they'll go to the World Series, and they've been like scuffling. They fired their manager last week, but if you're the Blue Jays, you're probably not catching up to the Yankees. The Orioles are right there too. Tampa's always decent. The Red Sox are having a down year.
they're still 500 though.
Yeah, but they're not going to make like a big move. I don't think they'll go for a swing for the fences type of move this year. So getting Quintana is kind of that middle ground where like they can get a middle inning guy that can eat some innings and come in for the 3, 4, 5 spot wherever in the rotation. Just kind of solidify that.
Or say even late postseason or something, a starter goes down, Quintana can step up. He's been pitching pretty well. I think we already saw his last game in Pittsburgh the other night, to be honest.
And if you watch baseball too, in the playoffs especially, they sometimes use those guys out of the bullpen. They'll stretch them out 3, 4 innings at a time. He'd be one of those guys that could be a swing guy like that.
Yeah. What do you think, Roberts? Quintana, stay or go?
Leaves.
He's leaving? Where are we getting back for him? A few Prospies?
Maybe a bag of baseballs for Yoshi to maybe hit some balls tonight.
Give him a tee to hit off of. Maybe.
Currently hitting 172 as a Pirate right now.
That's what I was about to get into. Who's playing well, who isn't. So you could start off with your boy Yoshi.
Yoshi on the down.
Thumbs down.
Thumbs down on Yoshi. I saw somewhere he had the worst slugging percentage, like of literally like only 8 players had worse slugging percentage in the past like 20 years than him or something.
Did you hear the Pirates broadcast tonight where they were talking about Josh Van Meter and he was up to bat and they're like, he's a player that could be on the move at the deadline. He's batting 182. Who the hell is
he's going to the move is maybe double A. That's the only move he's been making.
But he's playing so bad, even his mother ain't gonna pick him up for a movie date.
He's doing the Flint Tropics, Jackie Moon and Coffee Black, maybe. Trading for a washing machine.
I don't know.
Their broadcast is just absurd.
I mean, there aren't too many bright spots on the Pirates roster, to be honest, though. So, a couple pitchers, and then Reynolds is finally back after 10 games on the DL, or no, injured reserve, injured list, whatever it's called. So, at least he's back.
No,
Brian Hayes, 10-game hit streak, 11 tonight.
Yeah, he smacked one tonight. O'Neal Cruz, he either misses the ball by a foot or it's in the Allegheny. So he's got to figure it out. He swings at everything outside the zone, but anything down the middle, he just stares at.
if you're the Pirates at the deadline, you definitely trade Quintana. I think you trade Kevin Newman because there's a lot of those younger guys that could easily play the infield positions. Tucupita Marcano. Marcano's hitting like 313 his last 10 games. You trade Newman to a team that can use him as a bench batter, defensive replacement, late innings, something like that can give you the spot start. So Quintana, like I said, Newman. If Chris Stratton was having a better year, I'd say him too. Those bullpen guys you just ship out. They're not really.
Even Underwood will probably be on the move, doesn't he? He's been pitching all right.
Yeah.
How about Will Crow? You think Crow's going to still be here or what?
Young kid, he'll stay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think he's relatively safe.
That's what I'm saying. They got to play these young kids more because they had that 5-6 game win streak a couple weeks back, and who are they playing? All the young guys.
Yeah.
They bring back. I think Newman comes back, and then they send Sawinski back down. They haven't lost. They've been losing a little more, but I don't know. I mean,
back up. They sent him down after he was playing decent, kind of slowed down. What was his name? Bly Madras, another one, young guy that came up. I mean,
he was a dog in the outfield too, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Look how many balls are misplayed in the outfield too. I'd rather have the natural outfielders out there than, once again, like Josh Van Meter. I don't know why he's still on the team. I don't know why Yoshi Tsutsuga is still on the team. What are they giving you? They're not even batting 200. Bring those younger guys up, give them a chance. I don't care if Mason Martin's striking out 30% of the time. I'd rather see him up there with a chance. At least he has potential, unlike those guys.
Yeah. Ben Gamble, the greatest showman. He either dives for a ball and makes a web gem catch, or he's laying on the warning track, scraping himself up. That's your boy there, Roberts.
Ben Gamble, good guy.
And Marisnik was another guy that they could trade. They were rumored to, maybe trade for probably get a low-level prospect for him, but he's on the IL now, 10-day IL. So any team that would want to trade for him, they'd have to clear that with, I don't know the process. So he could still be traded, just be a little different. But I don't think he's going anywhere now.
Yeah, probably not. Well, that being said, next topic I have is what are the expectations for the future of the battling Buckeyes? What do you think, Roberts? I'll let you start.
I don't think they even make a 500 push here by the end of the year.
Oh, no chance.
No.
30 to 35 games under.
I think this year, probably next year, but then maybe the year after that, they start coming around a little bit, maybe. 2024?
I think next year's their first push for 500 year, and then after that, 2024 is when they start taking off. Those young guys they have, especially in Double-A, the pitchers. You have Quinn Priester, Carmen Mlodzinski. They got a bunch of guys down there. Mike Burrows was another one that's been pitching well this year. They're a couple years away. You got to get those guys ready. And you were if you're a Pirates fan, you're hoping Nick Gonzalez would be there too, but he's starting to look more and more like a bust, and I think that's why they took Termar Johnson fourth or fifth overall? I think it's
fourth.
Yeah, best pure hitter in the draft, second base. I mean, O'Neal Cruz is going to be the shortstop of the future, so he'll probably slot in at second at some point, unless they move Cruz to the outfield, which they shouldn't.
If not, move him left-hander, first base.
Yeah, I mean, who's even the first baseman in the Pirates system right now? They could even. It's not like they have a consistent one. Who is it, Marisnik or?
No, Mason Martin. That's all they have.
Mason Martin. That's all they have.
Who's playing right now, first base?
Chavis, Yoshi.
Yeah. Chavis.
I mean, that's no consistency there.
Yeah.
Last good one was Josh Bell. And, well, he's gone. They'd have a decent team if they keep these guys around. They got Bell, Marte. That's pretty decent. And the pitching.
Pitching staff.
I'm not going to talk about the Archer trade. That's another. We could deep dive that future episode. That's just
Save
bad
that
right
for
there.
another time. The worst trade in any professional sports history. I'm not even kidding. I think that is easily.
Well, like
One of the worst
that's the
moves.
first time I ever remember them actually going for something to. It ended up screwing the whole franchise for what probably still screwing them for 6-7 years now.
Yeah, look what it set him back. It set him back, an outfield pillar.
Corner outfields.
Yeah, corner outfield, and then Glass now, who's pitched phenomenal in Tampa. And then like the cherry on top for that was the player to be named is your first round pick, Shane Baz, who's also looking like a stud. Like you give up 3 pillars of a franchise for Archer, who lasted what, a year total?
Then he ends going right back. He goes right back to Tampa.
As the
That's the biggest
all-time fleece of Neil Huntington.
Yeah. Hey, but at least Chester Cheese won the pierogi race that year, right?
Yep. Chester Cheese.
That was the next thing I was gonna say. We already talked about the draft results, though. I don't know too many of those guys, but that's the only thing I don't like about the drafts. It's like the MLB draft and the NHL draft. They want to catch up to, say, the NFL draft and how big that is and how big the NBA draft is. But what happens is these guys get drafted, then they disappear for what, like 5 years? 4 or 5 years maybe? It's like, what do you expect? You're never going to have big names like that. I mean, the only big name I remember was last year, Jack Leiter and Kumar Rocker, but like
Kumar Rocker didn't even go.
he didn't even sign. He's back this year. So like, unless you're getting a big name, like I know Harper is pretty big out of high school, hitting the longest home run ever recorded, kind of.
Yeah.
More longer than Babe Ruth.
Like you said, like it takes 4 or 5 years, depending on where. NHL, some of them can go back to college. So, and the NHL draft, you have like the top 3 guys that people usually know, maybe the top 10 sprinkled in. But after that, it's international guys, it's college guys, it could be kids coming from the juniors in Canada, US. So there's not too many of them that are well known, where people that are the casual fan aren't going to know them because it's more spread out. And the same with baseball. You have high schoolers, you have college, you can have all these different areas. But the NFL, everyone watches college football on Saturdays. They know all those players going into that draft. College basketball, same thing. Everybody knows those guys. And then the NBA draft, it's shorter, so the prospect pool. It's easier to analyze those two, especially football, since it's probably the biggest sport, and basketball than the other two, where it's just so massive in the scope of it, where it's tougher for the casual fan to not, only know the first handful of prospects.
And these guys are making they're making an immediate impact too. Like those guys are on the field. Do you think that's a big thing too?
Yeah.
Because careers in the NBA and the NFL, they're a lot shorter. So in the MLB and the NHL, you have guys that are staying until they're like late 30s. You don't see that in the NBA often, or even the NFL that often. That's a rarity.
More international. It's not really. You don't get to see much of what all these kids do in the football and basketball. Most of it's international, and the big hockey guys watch it. They know, but everybody else, like the casual.
And half the time, these guys don't even pan out. Like, say, like there's a career minor league player, and they never come up. So like, what's the point of even like having a chase, even if you're into like sports cards or something like that? When you have, because like Trevor Lawrence, that was like big, that was huge. And he made, I don't know if he's making an immediate impact, but Jacksonville, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, but you look at the NBA, like the year LaMelo, Anthony Edwards are first round, top 5 picks, top 3 picks, whatever.
Yeah.
You look at the Pirates, who's their pick that year, the first round pick? Nick Gonzalez. There's no comparison.
You've never even had a whiff of him yet, right?
Yeah, and he's one that may never even play an MLB game. I'm sure he will. But he can't even stay healthy or hit in Double-A. Like no one's gonna remember that. I don't know. It's just totally different. The star power.
Yeah, that's just what I think though. They want these drafts to become larger and have like even like international drafts too. Like weren't they looking at that? The MLB, they wanted like an international draft too. Like
yeah,
is that gonna happen? But Who knows? Well, any more Pirate thoughts on the battling Buccos or?
No, the suckos. Spend nutting, get nutting till they actually go 500 again. That's the phrase.
But what I do want to end on before we start talking about them is at least they're watchable this year. I will give them that. Years past they throw like absolute scrap out, but at least there's a few players you could actually enjoy watching though. So
Yeah.
Highest paid player since McCutcheon. So
Duke O'Brien, yeah,
good.
I didn't see that coming. What, an 8-year deal? But you're lucky to get what 4 months and maybe like rent. But
Yeah. Yeah. So the Pirates, they're gonna be the same for at least another year and a half. Yeah.
well, that's just a sad topic to think of. So let's move on to
Another sad
Steelers.
topic.
Yeah, another. You think this is another sad topic? The Steelers?
The stadium name, yeah.
Oh, that's the big news right now. The new stadium. What are you thinking, Roberts? I'll give you first dibs on this one.
Still the same stadium. Don't care the name.
And
But
honestly, one of the worst stadiums in the NFL. Like, I'll be honest, even being a Pittsburgh fan, Heinz Field just isn't it. I think it's ugly. I'm just not a fan of it in general. I know Roberts is the Pitt guy, so
That's
I'm
why I
kinda
wanted him to start.
trash
He's
in
the
the
one
house
that's
that
there the
Kenny
most.
Pickett built.
Yep.
No.
I mean, it's all right. It's not
special.
top 10 like PNC. PNC is a great stadium, but Heinz
That's
Field.
what Marlins man said. Marlins man has it in his top 3.
It's the best stadium in baseball. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah. Heinz Field though is I'd like to see them branch off the Pittsburgh Steelers, but it's going to be hard to build one over in Oakland. So
yeah, I mean, it's at least they still keep the Heinz red zone though, so people aren't going to complain as much about that. But I just can't wrap my brain around people that just we're literally on the verge of tears, like crying that they're taking like red plastic bottles off the side of a stadium. Like there's nothing in there. It's just a drawing basically, and they're just crying in the club,
it's not a good look.
But I do Acrisure Stadium. I'm gonna start calling it the ASS, Acra A Shore S Stadium S. Going down to the S for a nice game. How about that, Roberts?
Yep.
You'll be the one that's there the most.
I will be there all year.
Ticket holder.
Season ticket holder.
All right, so that's probably the biggest news with the Steelers so far. But second biggest thing is the QB battle we're gonna see. And when's training camp start? Next week or 2 weeks?
No, I think next week. Yeah,
Next week, training
players
camp?
are starting. They started to come back to Pittsburgh today. Yeah, it's gonna be a 2-man race. I mean, Mason Rudolph and Mitch Trubisky. Pickett third on the chopping block so far. I don't know. I get it, but I don't at the same time.
I don't know. I'm seeing on Twitter a certain Pittsburgh radio show host. He's saying Tomlin's high on him. He's saying it's just all a big ruse. It's smoke and mirrors, and Pickett's gonna be a starter week 1. No one else is even in contention.
I think it's a ruse to try and get Mason Rudolph's trade value a little bit higher, swing him for maybe a 5th-round pick. I don't see them investing a 1st-round pick in a quarterback and not having him active. I think Trubisky starts the year as the quarterback, and if he falters, it'll be Pickett's show. But I think you sign Trubisky. He fits the system of Matt Canada's offense. So does Kenny Pickett. But the Steelers also really like to let their rookies usually develop and kind of get into the system. Obviously, the big one that they didn't really do that with was Najee Harris because there was a clear hole at running back where it's a plug and play for a running back, different for a quarterback. They tried to do it with TJ Watt, but that was never going to happen. There's a lot of smoke shows that go on before training camp. There's a lot that go on during. When it's all said and done, I think it's going to shape out as Trubisky as the starter, Pickett as the backup, and then they may have nightmares of when Duck Hodges had to start, so they may keep Mason Rudolph. But if they don't, I think Chris Oladokun, the guy they drafted in the 7th round, I think he sticks on the practice squad, and they'll roll with 2 quarterbacks or maybe sign a cheap veteran to be inactive on game day, kind of like Josh Dobbs used to be.
What are you thinking, Roberts? You're the pick guy. You know a lot about Kenny. I don't mind him, but what are you thinking?
I think he's got a bright future, but as you saw at Pitt, first 4 years were pretty bad, and it's all about the system he's in. He's more of a system quarterback more than he knows anything. So,
Do you think
but
he's the real deal? Could he be a franchise face, like a Herbert or a Burrows even, or?
no,
But do you think he'll be like a consistent guy that'll show up, maybe lead the
consistent
team? You know,
guy. I
But
put him on the probably the lines of like a Dak, like
Flacco. See him like
mm,
a Flacco,
possibly.
like fringe elite. I see him as a fringe elite. But you know what? I'm all in on. You know what I'm all in on about him? Double gloves, baby. Sign me up. Double gloves. I'm all in.
nah, and there shouldn't really be like too much pressure on the quarterbacks this year. Obviously, the defense is what's going to carry the team, and the offensive line is the biggest question mark. They signed Mason Cole, they signed James Daniels, Kendrick Green. Hopefully, he's not starting. He'll be in a battle to start, probably at guard. But all you have to do is be a somewhat mobile quarterback that can throw. Ben Roethlisberger, at the end of his career, look, I'm tripping over his own feet trying to roll out.
There was dust on his shoes.
Yeah, I mean, all you have to do is be a semi-mobile quarterback that literally you just don't screw up. You don't have to throw the ball 80 yards downfield like Josh Allen. You have to be a game manager. Let Najee take it over. You have all the weapons you'll need. Just don't screw up. That's literally all you have to do.
That's what I'm saying. The quarterback's the most important position, though. Like, what team is one with a star running back? And who knows how long?
No, there's no running backs. That's the thing. It's going to be
It's always
balanced.
QB. It's QB. That's the biggest one. I mean, the Steelers, the window was always their defense was what was lacking, but we got the defense now, and then it's the offense that's got to put it together. It's always one or the other.
Got one last name, Devin Bush.
You think?
Big year coming back.
Big year coming up for Devin Bush.
Look good coming in.
I think I'm all in on him. I mean, I think he'll learn a thing or two from Miles Jack. That's a big. They brought in Miles Jack. I think that's pretty big. Is it a contract year for Bush too, or?
Yeah.
He'll be playing his ass off then.
Yeah.
Anything like that. I really thought they'd get Honey Badger though for a quick second, but that never happened.
I think they were comfortable with re-signing Terrell Edmonds. He knew the system. He wouldn't need that much
Money
back into the fold. Yeah, it'd be cheaper. You can still have some cap flexibility. Someone goes down with an injury, like we saw, not an injury, but Tuitt retiring. They signed Larry Ogunjobi. I can't.
Yeah,
he was one of the ones beefing with Mason Rudolph back in Cleveland, but that's why you have that cap flexibility.
I forgot about that too. Forgot about Tyson Alulu. He'll be back.
Yeah, Alu, that was a big loss last year. I don't think people realized, their run defense was absolutely atrocious without him clogging up the middle. And it's not like he's a big guy, but he plays the position well. And he's, defense is like a cog. When he went down and no to it, they were exposed. I don't want to see Henry Mondu out there ever again.
I'm a Mondant. That's what they were saying. He's coming in. Did I see him coming in? I was just like, who is this marshmallow? Like I'm seeing come out here. But what are you taking? I think what's the over under on their wins this year? Is it 8.5?
FanDuel has it at 7.5 currently.
7. They haven't had a losing season since when? Before Tomlin, that's for sure.
18 years, isn't it?
How many?
18 years in a row, isn't it?
Yeah.
Probably. But are you taking that, Roberts, or what are you thinking?
That might be a big house bet here at the Roberts household.
Really?
You think they at least go 8-8?
I think they go 8-8 this year.
That's what I'm leaning towards.
I think they're splitting
9-8 because they play 17.
I think they're splitting every single divisional opponent. I can't see them getting swept. Maybe.
I think they get swept by Cincinnati.
Think so?
Yep.
What about you, Andrew?
I think they sweep Baltimore this year. Bold prediction: sweep Baltimore, split with Cincy, split with Cleveland.
I could see him sweeping Cleveland.
It depends. Yeah, it depends what Deshaun's doing.
Yeah, he got caught. Too bad he got caught with his hand in the honey pot. So he's got to deal with that himself, I guess.
I mean, can't really say anything as Steeler fans, though. I mean, it's not like Big Ben was an absolute saint either.
He found God, though, so we'll give him that. So at least they paraded him around the field. Big moment for the guy. Roberts, are you a big Steelers guy? I can't remember.
I'm not a big pro football kind of guy. Not
No?
a big pro sports kind of guy.
You're a gambler though. That's right in your wheelhouse.
That's where I make the money on the year. Pro sports.
It's where the
What
bread
about
and butter
fantasy?
is.
What about fantasy? You play any fantasy?
Fantasy? I did. I do have a winning record against his call.
Against who? Me? No, I've never played you.
I'm not mentioning any names, but
No, you don't have a winning record against me. I know that's no way.
I'll just leave that one at that.
Right. Any final thoughts on the Steelers? Playoffs or no? No playoffs?
No playoffs.
No playoffs. They scraped in last year from what, a Raiders field goal? Who was the field goal? Raiders field goal? Yeah.
I think they sneak in as a wild card. I mean, they have so much money invested in that defense. Defense wins championships. All the offense has to do is be a little bit better than last year, which I think it should be, even though there's a lot of question marks. I mean, you have Najee, Pat Freiermuth in their second year. The wide receiver room's looking decent. I don't think they give Deontay Johnson an extension, but you have him, Chase Claypool, George Pickens, who I think is going to be an absolute stud down the road, Calvin Austin III, a speedster. They're loaded on the skill positions. It's just a matter of if the offensive line can come together, and if it's either Trubisky, I don't think it's Rudolph, Trubisky or Pickett just manages the game as they should.
I think it's going to be anyone but Rudolph, honestly. I think Trubisky has the best chance to start, but we'll see Pickett finishing the season off. Or maybe even splitting reps.
If they thought it was Mason Rudolph, they wouldn't have signed Trubisky and they wouldn't have drafted Pickett. I mean, the writing was on the wall for him as soon as that happened.
Thing is, I want to see Trubisky do well, though, because I feel like he's never been on that good of a team. And last year he did take a step back as a backup in Buffalo. So
he got a raw deal in Chicago. He didn't get a fair shake there.
Yeah, he was a Pro Bowler and MVP, Nickelodeon Most Valuable Player. He had the slime ball award, right?
To give that up.
And he was a great UNC Tar Heel.
He got slimed, yeah.
So Sam Howell until he slipped into the 5th round.
Yeah.
So anything else on the Lurs before? Or one more thing. TJ Watt, what are we thinking? The Madden rating?
Absolute garbage.
Short end of the stick. You think he
deserves it under a great pit man? And Aaron Donald, the only person that should be a 99 in Madden?
He's under Myles Garrett.
As he should be.
No way, buddy. You're lying. Tell me you're joking right now.
Nope.
All right, well, we'll just leave it at that. And then we're moving on to the Penguins. Penguins, baby. Disappointing season, I think. First round exit after being, 3 up?
Yeah, but I think that was a little out of their control. 3rd string goalie.
Injury prone.
Sweet Louie eating his spicy pork and broccoli. Well, that's an absolute...
like a rag doll rolling around half the time. But
the offseason's been crazy, though.
I thought at the beginning of the offseason, the only guys that were going to be coming back were, of course, Sid, and then maybe just Rust, nobody else. But we ended up getting... Oh, no, I mean, yeah, Gensel too, but I mean, I didn't think Malkin would be back.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't think Letang would be back. So even DeSmith, I thought he was going to be gone too, but I mean, he's a solid backup. But Roberts, what are you thinking? We all said Malkin was gone. We were saying
everybody said it. Everybody was crying. Everybody said this. There's one guy in the room that said the trio will be back in Pittsburgh and will retire all as Penguins at the end of their careers.
I think that was going to happen. I'll give you that.
Everyone was crying in the club. But you know what? I'm going to give Roberts his flowers this one time only, and I'm going to say he was right. Malkin's back. Everything's all good. You see all these cores are getting blown up. Chicago's probably going to do it. I don't know if Teos and Kane will stay, but at least the Penguins are be competitive. Chicago blew their whole team up, but I mean, I think
there's still a lot of questions for the Penguins, though.
Think so?
Ton of defensive help. They had to get rid of a lot of defensemen.
Yeah, so I love what they did on defense, trading Marino. He got a contract way too early from Jim Rutherford, and he really regressed from his rookie year. And look at the teams that make it deep into the playoffs, the kind of defensemen that they have. They're the heavier defensemen that are great kind of two-way guys, give you offense. But Marino, Pedersen, Matheson to an extent get pushed around too much. Jeff Petrie, I think, is going to be an absolute stud in Pittsburgh. It stings having to go at Matheson because he did take a big step forward this year. His skating's filthy, but they're stronger on defense. They still have that logjam, like Robert said. I think they traded Marino for Ty Smith, who was a first-round pick, a young guy with potential. I don't think they make a lot of these moves if they're confident in P.O. Joseph. So I think him or Pedersen could still be moved. And what they need to do is move someone from that defensive group and get something for the bottom six, because I'm not very high on the bottom six at all. They don't have much scoring punch, and it's not like they added any scoring to the wingers. They gave Kapanen $3 million a year, which is insane for how poorly he's played. And realistically, who do they have on their bottom six? Jeff Carter,
Jeff Carter, guy pounds Bud Lights like no other. That's my favorite player on the Penguins.
I mean, I love the guy, but it looks like Father Time's catching up to him, especially in the second half of the year. But you look at the bottom six. What scoring do they have there?
We have our prize fighter Teddy Bluger. Send him out. He has a dent in his head by the end of the game. He has what? He had to have his jaw screwed shut at one point. Yeah. But yeah, there's not much there. But no. I thought they signed Petrie. I thought that was a good.
That was a great trade. Yeah.
Think so?
Yeah, I think it was a really good trade.
He's on his way out. What is he? 34.
Yeah, he's old, but he's a heavier defenseman. He'll be better offensively than Marino. He won't get pushed around. And he's always been the top pairing guy, really, when he's played. He was in Edmonton to start and then Montreal. Now he's going to be on the second pairing. The pressure's going to be off him a little bit. Take a couple minutes off the ice time. He'll stay fresher. Their defense is going to be way better this year, especially with Todd Reirden, who, he came back a couple years ago, really develops the defenseman well. I think their defense is going to be their strongest point this year, aside from the top six. That's pretty heavy, loaded up top. But you look at the bottom, that's going to be a big, big problem.
Do you think they make any more moves before?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That was I think they need to get tougher too. They got pushed around by the Rangers a lot. Yeah. They had no backbone or no one would really step up even.
And look who they got for the bottom six, Josh Archibald, who was with the Penguins to start his career.
Did he win a cup with them?
I think he did. He
16,
was on,
maybe.
Yeah. And he's like a smaller guy, skates fast, he throws his body around, but it's not like he's going to be winning any fights. He doesn't provide much scoring. You may as well get what's his name, Bobby Farnham back. Remember that guy?
Oh yeah.
Wayne Simmons. That's
Wayne Simmons. They need someone like that.
They need a physical guy, and all these Penguins guys hate him, but they need a nice Tom Wilson in their lineup. That's who they need.
Was that in your notes, Roberts? You just had Tom Wilson in big bold letters.
Tom Wilson. That's
my guy. I would admit if he was on the team, I wouldn't mind him, but
absolutely. If he's in Pittsburgh, people love him, but
I haven't seen a guy like that since Matt Cook.
That's what I was gonna say. He's literally Matt Cook probably, but I think Tom Wilson's more skilled than Matt Cook ever was.
Oh, absolutely.
That far. But nothing much more else on the Penguins front. Probably a month until they start even preseason stuff, and then or two maybe. September?
September, yeah.
And then October's when the season starts.
13th, I think.
Yeah. Maybe you head down to a game or two if they're not an arm and a leg again this year. Yeah. But yeah, I was at PPG and one drink was $35. Or two. Two were 35, 40 total. What is that? But anything else on the Penguins? You think they keep their postseason streak alive this coming year?
Yeah.
Yeah. Barely scraping. Wild card.
Yeah. I don't know.
Streak in pro sports. I don't know. I think they squeak in. Is everyone around them getting better or worse though?
Columbus got Johnny Gaudreau, but one player doesn't make the team. I don't think they do much this year. The Devils kind of stayed the same. They were supposed to they were in on Gaudreau. They were in on Matthew Tkachuk, who went to Florida. They didn't really improve. The Islanders definitely got worse. The Rangers, what moves did they make? They lost Andrew Kopp and a couple other guys. So it's not like the division. The Flyers are going to be absolute trash. Their offseason has been a train wreck. I mean, they're pathetic. So the Penguins are still in a good spot just because no one else in their the Metro really stepped up. Washington didn't do much. So
That's where I thought Gino was going. I thought Gino was on the hot track to Washington until he signed back. Thief in the Night.
That's a name you guys had to bring up, huh? Kachuk? Someone listening to that close.
We have to bring in our resident Jersey man, Rio, soon. We're gonna have to have a special segment where he goes through every single jersey he owns because the players in Timbuktu by the time he gets it, he's probably still looking on that Pickett jersey from China.
He is the most absurd collection of jerseys. We'll have to make a YouTube video of him holding up every jersey that he has because they are the most ridiculous players, ridiculous jerseys in general. And then he'll hop on Xbox and be like, "Hey guys, my next one, I'm getting a custom Mario Leonard Seattle Kraken jersey."
At this point, I honestly think he gets a dart and just throws it at a fucking map of the United States and picks a player from that team.
Not a good look.
But anything else on the Pens before we switch over?
No, let's go to college football.
All right, now this is why I brought Roberts in right here. This is your bread and butter. We're gonna start off. We got a duality of teams in this pod. We got the Penn State side. We got the Pitt side. Roberts is wearing a Pitt hat right now, so I'm gonna let you start on Pitt because I don't know much about Pitt this year. I know they got new QB. That's pretty exciting. They also lost a piece or two, but I'll let you go.
I got the big game coming up here in about a month here. The backyard brawl finally back.
What's going on there? What's on your agenda for the backyard brawl?
A lot of alcoholic beverages are going to be consumed that day.
Who do you think comes out on top there?
I don't think it's close. I think it's a 3-touchdown game at the end of the game.
3? Jeez.
Oh, yeah.
Who do you think quarterback? Talk about the quarterback a little you guys got.
Keaton Slovis. I think he has a lot of potential. It's all between the ears, though. If he could start realizing he's not Kenny Pickett and come in and be that guy, I think they're successful. But I have a dark horse in Nick Patty coming in by week 4.
I think Patty's going to be in the game.
Daddy Patty's going to be coming in by week 4.
Dude.
Love that. I love that.
That's chalked. You're chalked right now, dude.
Nope.
Can't say Patty is gonna be Patty the Baddie's coming in.
I think Nick Patty. I think that should have been his team, but they wanted an experienced quarterback. They saw what Pickett did last year, and they thought throw another chance at a guy that has a lot of potential, press-style quarterback. And that's another thing. They got a new offensive coordinator now. Big Dick Whip is out of there, and they got the Frank Sindetti coming in. So,
you can't just drop that.
What do you mean? I'm not gonna call him Big Dick Whip, Mr. 45 plus.
Jesus. All
Shout
right.
out to my boy Mario, but I think it's gonna be a lot of ground and pound game for the Pitt Panthers this year, and that's what I have another dark horse in Israel Abanikanda, shooting up the Heisman watch list here with the whole offensive line coming back. Junior added a ton of muscle this offseason, so looks good coming in. The only question mark I have here is the secondary of Pitt Panthers and the wide receiver room. I was hurt.
That was the elephant in the room I was about to ask. Go ahead. I
was hurt. I was hurt by the kid leaving, but Jordan Addison, he parted ways. But I think they have some talent though. Jared Wayne, Katana Mumfield, Jalen Barden, and they just got the transfer just got eligible yesterday. Bub Means out of Louisiana Tech. He's coming into the game, so. Plus, they have a lot of young kids coming in.
What do you think? What's your final record prediction for Pitt this year?
11-2.
11-2. Jeez. So playoff bound or?
I think they
lose championship.
I think they lose to the Miami Hurricanes at the end of the year, and I think they lose an early one. I hate to say it. I think they lose to the Tennessee Volunteers at home.
That's what I was gonna say. I said that's on. I think they lose to Tennessee. Tennessee's they're looking for vengeance. They got clowned on in Knoxville last year. Was that where Tennessee?
I attended that game. Yep.
I know you did. But did you clown on him when you were there?
I did. I just started chanting Rocky Top the whole time because
They're looking for revenge, so I could see that happening.
they got a
So
lot coming back,
two
especially
losses.
their quarterback.
Other than that, you think? What about ACC title? No back to back.
I think I'll be back in Charlotte this year, mid-February. I mean, mid-January.
Pops with Rio.
Yeah, my boy Rio probably buying cake pops, going down to Starbucks in Charlotte.
Yeah, maybe you have you on 28 on the way there, I guess. Well, what else you got on Pitt? Anything else, or?
I think that's it.
I'm sure we'll talk about it more this season once they start playing. That'll be fun to watch. But
Yeah.
we'll go in more on. So we're gonna switch it over to the other Central's part of the state. Got the two Penn State guys in here. Andrew, take it away.
All right, so I'm expecting Roberts to be in shock by the end of this Penn State breakdown. So last year, they finished 7-6. They lose a lot on defense from last year, especially linebackers, Lucada, Brandon Smith. I'm pretty sure Ellis Brooks is gone as well, and then they had a guy transfer out, I think, too. But offensively, you have Sean Clifford back at the helm. I have no confidence at all in Sean Clifford. He's the third career passing leader in Penn State history, which is insane to me.
That's because he's been there for about half a decade.
Oh yeah, I guess he'll be getting a golden watch when he leaves as his retirement. But the Penn State's problem, their problem last year was PJ Mustipher getting hurt early on in the year, killed their defensive line. Diza Isaac, who was supposed to be the next big edge rusher, got hurt in camp, missed the whole year. So defensively, those two guys are back. Linebackers are going to be a big concern, but the secondary is going to be, I think, the best in the Big Ten. You have Peasy Jr., Joey Porter Jr. locking it down. Jair
Shot me in Denver.
Shot me in Denver. You have Keaton Ellis, Jair Brown, who's coming back. And there's a pair of brothers. I don't know if they're twins or not. Kobe King, Kalen King, that were freshmen last year at Saw Some Time. Kalen should be starting at corner. Kobe King might be playing linebacker. So they'll have Curtis Jacobs there. Offensively, we'll go back to offense. They had no run game last year. The running back by committee just did not work. So the big guy that they have this year, true freshman, Nicholas Singleton, I think he's going to be an absolute stud. Offensively, they lose Jahan Dotson too, but
That's a big loss, yeah.
But Western Kentucky transfer Mitchell Tinsley, I think, is going to be really good.
I think PJ too, PJ Washington.
Or Parker Washington.
Parker Washington, yeah. So
yeah, Parker Washington's going to be good. They have a deep tight end room. But looking down at their schedule, Roberts, what do you think I'm going to predict as their record for this year before I tell you?
7-5.
Bingo. 7-5. I think they go down to Auburn. They catch a loss there. I think they beat Purdue and Ohio right off the bat. I'm just running down their schedule. They lose at Auburn. Then they have Central Michigan and Northwestern at home, which I think will both be wins. And like every year, I think they lose at Michigan. I think that's going to be a loss. They beat Minnesota at home. They lose to Ohio State at home. Ohio State's just going to be too good. James Franklin, great recruiter, can't get it done when the lights are on.
There you go, Daniel Joseph. There's your little claim to fame, Daniel Joseph. I know you're listening.
If you're listening at this point, we're about 50 minutes in. See if his attention span goes that long.
Great Sour Patch Kids munching into the mic.
Watch TikToks. So.
Smooth brain, yeah.
And then the dark horse game, I think they lose at Indiana this year, and then they beat Maryland, Rutgers, and Michigan State 7-5. When then whatever bowl game they go into. I think they end up finishing maybe third, behind Ohio State and Michigan, but too many questions offensively, way too many defensively, especially in the middle of the field at linebacker. Unless Sean Clifford can really take off, I just don't see them winning too much, too many games, too many close games, especially with that offense.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's to be a big bridge year for him.
Yeah.
I think by the end of the year, Clifford isn't even the starter anymore. You think Alar will be in?
Drew Alar? I think he is. I think he's the future.
I saw people think he's a Heisman candidate eventually. This is the big
Yeah.
He's the one that's going to show and take Penn State's program back to the top. They're saying he's going to show the quarterbacks can come up there and Heisman candidates. Yeah.
Hopefully he's not the next Christian Hackenberg, who's the last big quarterback recruit. But no, Drew Alar, Mike Yurcich, who's the offensive coordinator, that's his guy. He was the one that was heavily recruiting him, got him to come to Penn State. Probably the biggest quarterback since Christian Hackenberg they've recruited. So once Sean Clifford's done, and if they can't get it done with Drew Alar, Nick Singleton, they're recruiting phenomenal classes. At some point, that has to translate to actual results on the field. I think that's the problem.
I mean, I have high hopes for him. I know Roberts, he doesn't care. He's probably hoping they go down in flames, right?
I think I called James Franklin the best recruiter, the best talker. When it comes in between the lines, he can't get it done.
It's true.
What are your thoughts? What game are you looking at this year, Roberts? I know we're going to one. What game are you looking at?
I want to see a big game. I want to see I'm not a big game. I mean, I'm not
LSU?
Not going to
hit Ohio State up?
And I think that's another topic for another day. I know we have a guy close to us won't want to hear that, but I think that's another team that goes down this year.
Ohio State, CJ Stroud.
Buckeyes. I don't think they're that good this year.
You don't think so?
I think Bryce Young takes off, and I think Alabama dominates college football this year.
I'm thinking Penn State. They're going to beat Ohio State this year. I'm calling it now. I have higher hopes than you guys. I think they're going to be a lot better than we think. They lost a few guys, but I think the young guys coming in are going to step up. These freshmen are going to be hungry.
From the defensive side of the ball, though, look at the names that they lost: Ellis Brooks, Brandon Smith, top two linebackers.
Castro Fields, my favorite player.
Tariq Castro Fields, solid corner. Jaquan Brisker, Kwani B, favorite player of mine.
Kwani B.
There, he's gone. Arnold Ebiketie, the transfer from Temple, great edge rusher. He's gone.
Yeah.
Luke Cada's gone. Like you said, Tariq Castro Fields, Derek Tangelo, the transfer from Duke. He's gone. I mean, you lost a ton off your defense.
Yeah. I'll believe when I see it. I mean, I'm staying positive. Wasn't Mustafa supposed to be a pretty high round pick until he got hurt?
Yeah.
Where was he projected last year?
He probably would have went, I would say, late second, early third.
That was a big loss. Yeah. I think the season turned around when, first of all, was that the Illinois catastrophe last
year?
Yeah, that was embarrassing. And then Iowa, Sean Clifford was half dead, and then they throw in what's his face.
He transferred to UConn. What was his name?
They couldn't protect him. He was running for his life all game.
What did they have at the end of the game? What did we say? 19 false start penalties. Can't get that done.
That was bad. But I mean, I have high hopes. I think
Juan Robertson.
I think Alabama's king, though. They're gonna come out on top this year. But I mean, I'm sure we'll have some gambling lines there. We'll have some action going. We'll have to keep a record of what's going on. But I have nothing else on college football. About you guys?
Not until we do an in-depth breakdown. I think the Pitt-Penn State was a pretty good jumping-off point for the inaugural podcast. And
as being a Penn State fan, I mean, that's the name of the pod, Youngzers. I think the big thing here is the Pitt-Penn State rivalry. I don't think we mind either team. I know Roberts. He's always the one that exit on. And he's always the one that goes
biggest troll.
Penn State,
in Western Pennsylvania.
You know what? Whatever. I think the younger generation of Pittsburghers, they keep more of an open mind. I don't know. Maybe not Roberts. He's probably.
I have a special guest coming on next episode too for the next one we film.
Who? Billy? Billy's it coming?
Can't say. It'll be right here. Seat beside me.
What is this, WWE? You have a nice mystery opponent or tag team partner?
Yep.
Is it be Finnegan?
You guys will find out.
All right. Well, last topic. We're at about an hour now, so there's no NBA team in Pittsburgh, but I guess we could talk about the NBA a little bit. So there's some crazy moves happening. Especially today, we heard KD might be traded to the Boston Celtics.
Big mistake.
I think that's a big mistake. I love it. I like the Nets. I mean, if I had to choose one team to be a fan of, I'm choosing the Nets. So I'm hoping they get something for him if he's on his way out. But I mean,
if you're the Nets, you would hope you could get Jaylen Brown picks and players, but
yeah.
if you're Boston, I think that just sets you back. I don't understand how a KD, if they say that a Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown dynamic doesn't work, how's a Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant dynamic going to work?
I don't know.
I don't think that would work at all.
I don't think so, no.
I just think there's a lot of crazy fan bases out there. I know Andrew's high on one of them.
Portland Trail.
Big Portland guy.
And
I don't think, honestly, like I hate to say it, but I don't think you're ever going to see a title with Damian Lillard there, ever.
Probably not, but you never know. Catch lightning in a bottle. I mean, they made it to the Western Conference Finals a couple years ago. They got some young pieces finally. Nasir Little coming back from injury. Anthony Simons, I think, is going to be really good. He's already, took a big step last year. The big question mark is going to be Shadon Sharp. I mean, he's just a total mystery. They took him in the lottery. Didn't play at all at Kentucky after he early enrolled. Got hurt in his first summer league game, I believe. Small tear in his shoulder. So that's, did they waste that pick or? I don't know. That I didn't mind the pick because of who else was there. Dyson Daniels, I could have saw them taking him, or the guy the Spurs took. Was it Jeremy Sochan from Baylor? I wouldn't have minded either of those guys, but they took the guy with the highest upside. So we'll see where it goes. I think they sneak in as a 7 or 8 seed this year with a healthy Lillard and a better defense. But the West is stacked, so it'll be almost impossible for them to reach the finals.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I can't see us talking too much NBA on here because I'm not really in on the NBA as much as I once was. Pittsburgh not having. I think we'll talk about like big moments and stuff like that, but honestly, I can't see us going too far in on it.
Unless we do like a jersey rankings episode where we rank like the top 10 jerseys of all time. Because the Pistons announced tonight they're bringing.
That is a sick announcement.
That was awesome. They need to bring those. Like all the jerseys that people back then they say were like ugly, like they're bringing them back and like people our age love them.
Yeah.
Like those old Grizzlies ones when they were in Vancouver, like all the old heads hated those, and now like they brought them back. I know so many people, myself included. We have a pair of those like Grizzly shorts, and like I don't know. I just think things are changing, but I have nothing else in the NBA until maybe some big signings or. I'm not going to go in depth on season previews or anything. There's no team around here, unless Pittsburgh gets a team or something.
The big two pieces are Kyrie and KD. Wherever they go, that's when everything else goes.
Yep. Well, I mean, Pirates game just ended. They lost 3-2. That's what I'm predicting anyway. I think they're dropping 2 to the Cubs this weekend. So that just happened live on the pod, but. I got nothing else. I think it was a pretty good episode. I loved the different aspects. We have to have a lot more of these. Maybe once or twice a week we'll drop a pod. This is about an hour. I'm surprised we talked that long. I thought we were going to go about maybe 30, 40 minutes, but it's a lot longer than I thought.
Yeah, no, definitely. Just get the feel for it here and whatever Pittsburgh sports. Obviously, we want to talk about once the seasons start rolling. It's kind of like the dead period right now. The Pirates aren't in contention for anything. We're just waiting for training camp. Once Steeler football, Pitt football, Penn State football take off, we'll have that. We'll have training camp for the Penguins starting too. So that's when it'll really be ready to roll.
Yeah. Final thoughts, Roberts? What do you got for me, buddy?
We might have some live videos for you guys if we go to games this year too.
Live videos? Yeah, we're going to have to post on YouTube. This will be on YouTube. I don't know if we're going to put an image over this or something. Or if we're just going to post this directly because we have our webcams and our mics and stuff. So we're either post that, but it'll definitely be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and stuff like that. So I'm excited. Something to do. It's fun. Good vibes. We do this anyway every night on Xbox. It's just this time we had a roadmap. We actually talked about stuff. So that's cool. But anything else from the kids or what?
No kids, no jungle gyms tonight, boys.
All right. Well, I guess we'll say thanks for listening. Keep an eye out. Turn on the subscribe bell. I don't know what do you do. Hit whatever. Pilot episode went well. Excited for the next one. We'll go probably in depth on. I don't know what we're gonna talk about next. Probably more Pirates stuff or trade deadline stuff in the future. Anything like that. So keep an eye out. Subscribe to the pod. Thanks for listening to the pilot. See you next time, folks.